March 2025. A quiet data server in Western Australia begins to light up again, after nearly a decade of silence. On a forgotten monitoring station, a technician scrolling through archived satellite telemetry notices something strange. A series of pings, faint, misaligned, but eerily familiar. Could this fragment of data, overlooked, mislabeled, almost deleted, be the one piece that changes everything? The file wasn't new. It was old. From the early hours of March 8, 2014, the night Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 disappeared. For 10 years, every scrap of evidence had been pored over, dismissed, or explained away. But now, this rediscovered digital echo suggests that the story may not be over. Not yet. The technician flags it. Investigators reopen archive channels. And within hours, across data centers, analysis hubs, and aviation networks, one question resurfaces like a ghost from the deep. If the data was there all along, what else did we miss? This is where the mystery begins again. The archive closes, the light fades, but that pulse, that rhythm, stays. It hums beneath the surface, like an echo waiting 10 years to be heard. Somewhere in that heartbeat lies a timestamp. March 8, 2014. The night the sky itself seemed to erase a line from its own map. To decode what the technician just found, we have to travel backward, to the last ordinary minute before the silence. Back to a routine flight, a clear night, and a corridor of air where nothing should have gone wrong. Because mysteries don't begin with disappearance. They begin with normal, and it's only when the normal collapses that we realize what was missing all along. It was supposed to be routine. A midnight flight carrying 239 souls from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing. Weather clear, systems nominal, a corridor of air traffic monitored by dozens of radars and satellites, each cross-checking the other. Nothing unusual, until suddenly, there was nothing at all. 40 minutes into the journey, at the edge of Malaysian airspace, the aircraft vanishes from civilian radar. No distress call, no emergency code, just silence, and a blank screen. Within minutes, air traffic controllers attempt radio contact. Malaysia 370, do you read? No response. Military radar tracks an unidentified return turning sharply west, back across the peninsula, then out toward the dark Indian Ocean. For months, the world searched. Surface ships combed the seas. Satellites reanalyzed faint Doppler shifts known as handshakes, automated signals between the aircraft and a geostationary satellite. From those signals, investigators drew an arc, a vast curve of possible crash points stretching deep into the southern Indian Ocean. But despite the most expensive oceanic search in history, almost nothing tangible surfaced. A few fragments of debris, yes, washed up on distant shores, but no fuselage, no flight recorders, no clear answers. And so, piece by piece, the trail went cold. The data sealed away, the analysts reassigned, the public moved on. Until now, the newly recovered packet, found in a neglected backup node, is time-stamped within that same missing window. The coordinates don't match prior models, and if it's genuine, it could shift the entire search zone by hundreds of kilometers, which raises a haunting possibility. Was this evidence there all along, hidden by error, by oversight, or by design? To understand why this fragment matters, we have to understand how the system that heard it works, and what it was listening for. At the heart of the MH370 mystery lies a network few passengers ever think about. A silent infrastructure that speaks in handshakes. Every modern jetliner is fitted with a satellite communication terminal, a system designed for routine data exchange, performance reports, engine health, position updates. It talks not through voice, but through bursts of encoded telemetry. Short, automatic, relentless, until one night, it wasn't. When Flight 370's transponder and ACARS system stopped transmitting, the plane effectively disappeared from civilian tracking. But one channel, a background link managed by a commercial satellite, kept trying to reconnect. Each of those attempts left behind what analysts call a ping log. No location, no altitude, just time and frequency drift. like an echo bouncing across an invisible canyon. From those echoes, investigators derived two critical measurements: the burst timing offset, how long each ping took to reach the satellite, and the burst frequency offset, a minute shift in tone caused by Doppler effect. Combined, they formed a rough trace of the aircraft's path, a curved corridor stretching thousands of kilometers southwest. This is the seventh arc, the line believed to mark the final handshake between the aircraft and the satellite. It became the foundation of the entire search effort. And yet, even this data was always built on inference, on models and assumptions. Temperature corrections, aircraft power states, unknown altitude, one variable shifted, and the whole picture could move by hundreds of miles. Which brings us to the rediscovered packet. It doesn't fit neatly within the known timeline. Time-stamped just minutes after the last acknowledged handshake, it carries an unclassified identifier, a partial signal that analysts had once dismissed as noise. But when run through modern correction filters, it reveals a pattern nearly identical to a valid logon request. In simple terms, it looks as if, after all known systems had gone dark, the aircraft tried to reconnect. Once, briefly, then silence. If this data is authentic, it reopens a crucial question. Did the aircraft remain airborne longer than believed? Or did an automated restart trigger this signal? After impact, from a submerged but still powered terminal. In aviation analysis, even a 2-minute discrepancy can rewrite the physics of an entire disappearance. A final handshake at 8:19 means a crash along one arc. A reattempt minutes later could shift the impact zone by nearly 1,000 kilometers into an area never fully surveyed. For years, those unswept sectors were marked as low priority, too deep, too uncertain. Now, they're being reopened. But before those coordinates can be trusted, the new data has to pass one brutal test: authenticity. Could a cosmic ray glitch, a data relay echo, or even human mislabeling explain it? To find out, investigators must revisit the human side of the system, the night shift analysts, the decision chain, the people who heard the silence first. Data doesn't grieve, but people do. And for those who lived inside the blinking light of that night, the silence has never left them. When the calls stopped coming, when the transponder went dark, they waited. Because sometimes signals do return, systems reboot, radios flicker back. But not that night. Somewhere beyond the radar horizon, 239 people had vanished into the oceanic void. Analysts on duty spent hours replaying the data, frame by frame, searching for a single blip that might whisper, "We're still here." They found none. The screens froze in their memory like open wounds. Some of those same technicians, older now, gray at the edges, were in the room when the old archive pinged awake this year. A fragment of code, one line in a billion, lighting up after 10 silent years. "It looks familiar," one of them murmured. But it shouldn't exist. For them, this wasn't data. It was a voice returning from the void. They knew what this meant, or rather, what it could mean. A second chance to find the truth, and a reopening of wounds long sealed by bureaucracy and fatigue. Many who worked the original case never stopped checking. Some left the field entirely. Others built models in private, long after official funding ended. The mystery became personal, an equation without closure. When the new data appeared, one of them whispered a single line, half to himself. Maybe the ocean was never the only thing hiding it. Behind every investigation, there are those who never let go, whose search for precision becomes an act of mourning. And in their persistence lies the next lead. Because now, with emotion tempered by new tools and cold data, the search is dividing once again, between those who think the signal proves survival and those who believe it confirms impact. Both sides can't be right, but both have something to lose. Every anomaly is a crossroads, and this one, a fragment of forgotten data, a phantom signal, has reignited 3 paths of inquiry, each one logical, each one incomplete: extended flight hypothesis, Analysts believe the rediscovered ping could represent a legitimate relogon attempt. In simple terms, the aircraft's satellite terminal, briefly depowered, might have restarted, sending a fresh handshake minutes after all others ceased. If true, the aircraft remained airborne longer than estimated. Models suggest it may have glided beyond the previously searched region, toward a trench nearly 6,000 meters deep, an area too remote for earlier sonar sweeps. The implication? The search zone was always just slightly off, not by hundreds of kilometers, but enough to miss the wreckage entirely. But others see something different. False echo. Hypothesis. Engineers argue the fragment isn't from the aircraft at all, but a reflection created by signal rebounding between satellite relays. In 2014, certain ground stations were running redundant time correction protocols. A single missynced packet could have produced what looks like a delayed transmission, a ghost ping. Supporters of this view point to timing drift inconsistent with the aircraft's known Doppler curve. The signal, they say, was nothing more than an illusion, static mistaken for a heartbeat. Which brings us to the third, and most controversial theory, the masked data hypothesis. A small group of independent investigators suggests the rediscovered ping wasn't lost, it was omitted. Not out of malice, but due to internal data triage during the chaotic first weeks of analysis. Early systems filtered out incomplete packets automatically, meaning crucial data could have been discarded before human review. The rediscovery, they argue, may expose a deeper issue, that other fragments, still buried, might exist. If more packets are hidden within legacy storage arrays, they could redraw the final hour entirely. But proving that means confronting an uncomfortable reality. We may not fully understand how the network decided what to keep and what to forget. 3 theories, 1 lost signal, and a single thread running through all of them, our dependence on imperfect systems. For every clean model and tidy conclusion, there's a messier truth. Machines reflect the people who build them, their blind spots, their assumptions, their limits. So which is it? A genuine attempt to reconnect, a phantom echo from the deep sky, or a line of code that was never meant to be seen? To decide, the new team will need to test every model again, from scratch, using techniques that didn't exist 10 years ago. And what they're finding next may shift the search once again. It starts with a checksum error, a corrupted archive flagged during the re-indexing of the old telemetry logs. But inside that error, something new, a cluster of packets no one had seen before, hidden in an unused memory sector, mislabeled, misfiled, and untouched for nearly a decade. The recovered fragment is tiny, less than 30 kilobytes. Yet inside it lies the kind of anomaly that rewrites entire search grids. A burst pattern consistent with an active transmission attempt. Not a reflection, not a duplication. The frequency drift aligns almost perfectly with the aircraft's prior handshake sequence, except for one difference. It's shifted, ever so slightly, by a delta that suggests movement. Analysts feed the numbers into updated Doppler models, correcting for atmospheric and oscillator bias, techniques unavailable in 2014. The result stuns them. The model outputs a location outside the original search corridor by nearly 180 kilometers southwest, a place once dismissed as a low-probability zone, too deep for cost-effective sonar. For the first time in years, simulation and signal align. The rediscovered packet, when layered with debris, drift analysis and ocean current modeling, converges on one sector, a place long written off as empty ocean. But now it's lighting up with new data. In recent months, independent oceanic researchers have returned to that stretch of sea. Using ultra-low-frequency sonar and autonomous mapping drones, they've begun scanning again. And beneath 4,000 meters of darkness, they've found shapes, metallic echoes, too regular to be geology, too incomplete to identify. The data is still under review, but the coordinates match, almost exactly, the new signal's predicted endpoint. To the untrained eye, it could be anything. A rock outcrop, a container, a sonar artifact. But to those who have spent a decade chasing ghosts, this image, however vague, feels like the first real whisper of truth. And yet, there's something else. When analysts re-examined the rediscovered packet, They found embedded metadata, a diagnostic string that doesn't match any known aircraft system, a timestamp, 2 characters too long. No one can explain how it got there. Could it be an error from the original data logger, a compression glitch, or a clue? Evidence that the data file was copied, altered, or re-encoded during the first chaotic weeks of analysis. If that's true, then the rediscovery isn't just about where the plane went. It's about what happened to the data after it vanished. The deeper they dig, the more missing timestamps they find. Small gaps, milliseconds long. Individually meaningless. Collectively, they suggest something unsettling. Portions of the system may have been overwritten, not by failure, but by design. Suddenly, the mystery isn't only under the ocean, it's in the code itself. The search teams are returning to the site. The digital forensics teams are reopening the logs. And for the first time in years, the official narrative of loss without trace is cracking. The question now isn't what was lost, it's what's about to be found. The new data points downward, into pressure, darkness, and time. For the first time, there's a shape, a depth, a coordinate that feels real. Yet the deeper the signal goes, the more the questions rise. What if the rediscovered packet isn't just revealing a location, but exposing the fragility of everything we trusted to find it? The algorithms, the archives, the faith that data, once recorded, stays pure. The search is no longer only under the waves, it's in the code, in the archives, in us. And as investigators prepare to descend again, both into the sea and into the data, one truth is unavoidable. Every discovery creates its own shadow. In the next chapter, we leave the data lab behind and face what the evidence means, not for a plane, but for how the world remembers. The ocean doesn't lie, it only waits. And now, 10 years later, it's starting to speak again. The rediscovered packet has reignited a global network of investigators, data scientists, oceanographers, aerospace engineers, all revisiting the same puzzle with sharper tools, colder logic, and an even deeper sense of loss. If this signal holds up, it means the models were wrong. The algorithms that guided the largest maritime search in history may have been working from incomplete truth, not false, just fractured, like a mirror shattered into data. And if the data was fragmented here, in one of the most scrutinized investigations on Earth, how many other truths lie hidden in our archives, waiting for algorithms that don't exist yet? For the families, the rediscovery cuts both ways. Hope and dread, twin forces in orbit. A decade of grief threatens to reopen overnight. For them, this isn't about satellites or pings. It's about closure, about knowing, even if knowing hurts. Across the world, memorials flicker back into the news. The phrase, "reopened lead," trends again. Governments issue careful statements, balancing empathy and caution. No promises, just the familiar refrain. Verification pending. But within the technical community, a deeper unease grows. The rediscovered data's anomalous metadata, those 2 extra digits in the timestamp, still can't be explained. If the signal is real, it means the aircraft's systems were alive longer than thought. If the digits are artificial, someone or something touched the data after the fact. And here lies the paradox. The closer we get to the truth, the more invisible it becomes. 10 years ago, we searched the sea for wreckage. Now we're searching the data for fingerprints, not of a pilot, not of a machine, but of the system itself. Because if this rediscovered evidence was hidden once, how do we know there isn't more still buried, not on the seafloor, but in the archives? Some investigators believe that what we've found is only the first of several fragments. Small ghosts left behind by a decade of evolving storage systems. Others whisper that deeper patterns are emerging, correlations between unrelated signals, like echoes of a story not yet told. What if the final moments of MH370 weren't just lost, but misheard? What if the ocean didn't swallow the truth, it distorted it? And if this is what one rediscovered ping can reveal, what will we learn when the next one surfaces? The signal was faint, the data imperfect, but it spoke. And for those still listening, that's enough. The story of MH370 has never truly ended. It only waits between frequencies, between truths, between oceans. And maybe it's been trying to call back all along.